Well, finally, the Diamond Dogs gave the fans what they wanted to see.
You are Locked On Mississippi State, your daily podcast on the Mississippi State Bulldogs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Well, thanks for making Locked On Mississippi State your first listen every single day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. My name is Jaron Spor. I have a decade-long experience in journalism. I'm a national college football writer with Athlon Sports. This is our shortened podcast for today. We got to talk about the Diamond Dogs. We didn't get to talk about them on yesterday's episode or this morning. If you watched this morning, we talked about some football-related news. So we didn't get to talk about them as they played Troy on Tuesday. It's like a 4:00 game. And so we'll talk about that. And then are there any concerns still? Are there still people that are concerned about, what they saw? And honestly, that's what it should look like right there. What they did in that game is exactly what it should look like. They were dominant, and that's what we wanted to see against Hofstra, and it wasn't there. But you want to see that team kind of rebound and then show that. And it was like 9-1 in the fifth inning. I mean, it was a dominant performance for the Diamond Dogs, and Duke Stone pitched in the game, and that was someone that they actually announced that earlier in the week. Or on Monday, I think it was Monday that they ended up doing it. They announced that Duke Stone was going to get his first collegiate start. And so that just goes back to what we talked about with them having so much depth and still trying to find that number 2 or that number 3 as the pitcher. Things didn't go great for all the starters this past weekend. McPherson wasn't bad. Foster wasn't good, but Valencius was pretty good. And so giving him a chance to start, and he pitched well. He had 4 innings, allowed 1 hit, 1 run, and it was an earned run. It was a triple to center field, and that was his only run he allowed in 4 innings. And so he pitched really well in the game, but they started the game off strong. I mean, they scored 4 runs in the first inning. By the end of the second inning, they're up 7-0. That's kind of what we were hoping to see against Hofstra. Again, I bring it back to that because the hitting was kind of a concern. I mean, the pitching obviously wasn't great either, but if you would have allowed that many runs, but scored 10, 11 runs like we've seen some of these other teams do in the SEC, you're probably not as disappointed with the game. I mean, the first of the doubleheader, they score 6 against Hofstra on Saturday, only allow 1, and that was their biggest margin of victory. And then later on in that day, they scored around 5 or 6, and I think in all 3 games, and on Friday and Saturday against Hofstra, or 7. They scored 7. I think they scored 6, 6, and 7. And so if you would have had a double-digit score game, you're probably feeling more confident as a team and as a fan base. And so it was good to at least see them, the bats get going on Tuesday, and now you just have to keep carrying that over. And that's the big question for all Mississippi State fans. Like, what team was the real team? Was it the team that we saw the first weekend? Was it the team that we saw against Troy? Which team are we going to see the rest of the year? And you're going to see a mixture, I'm sure. They have a game that actually it's just started actually against Alcorn State, so we'll see what they end up doing in that one. And then they got a weekend series against Delaware, and that's one that you would like to see a lot of runs and a big blowout win there. And so we'll see what kind of team they end up being the rest of the season. And this is why I said don't get too high by that first weekend, don't get too low either. And same thing with this performance here. You can't get too high, you can't get too low. It was a really good performance against Troy, but it's not a game that you're like, okay, everything's solved, we're good. So we're still going to talk about it in the next segment. Is there anything we're still going to be concerned about? And so we got to dive into that, because just because you dominate a bad team, like, that's what you should do if you're this kind of team, and especially if you're a team that can make the College World Series like we think you can. If we think you're a team that's like that, then you need to dominate these games, and they did against Hofstra, and they did against Troy. Again, they got a game right now going on. So let's see if they do that again. But if they're able to do that and kind of carry the momentum and start building some momentum going forward, I think everything is out in front of them. They still have everything in the world to have a great season. They can do it. They got to put everything together, but this is something that they absolutely can do and be a really good team. And again, we've talked about it. We need this. Mississippi State fans need this. Football did not go great, although it was better than the year before. Basketball, men's basketball was not good. Women's basketball was pretty good. Softball is really good. And so we needed something to go along with it. And baseball is what is king here, and we know that. And so baseball being good makes it a lot more fun to be a Mississippi State fan. So we'll talk about if there's anything still to be concerned about. That is coming up next. Everyone that experienced the NBA Finals live and in person, FanDuel is giving you the chance to turn that dream into reality with their NBA sweepstakes. Here's how it works. Use your profit boost on any NBA future, and you'll automatically be entered for a shot to win an NBA Finals trip for two. That's right. Flights, tickets, the whole experience. If you're already looking at the board and thinking about which team can make a deep run, this is the perfect time to lock it in. I love futures this time of year, whether it's picking a team to win the championship or grab a conference title. It adds that extra layer of excitement to every game down the stretch. And now, not only can you pick cash, but it could also send you to the finals. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Use your profit boost on an NBA future and get entered for your chance to win a trip to the NBA Finals. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Workplace chaos, deadlines stacking up, inbox overflowing, and the one position you had to fill still sitting open. When the pressure's on and you need the right hire, this is a job for Sponsored Jobs. Indeed, Sponsored Jobs helps you reach the people who actually fit what you're looking for: skills, experience, location, so you're not just hoping the right candidate stumbles across your post. And here's a stat that says it all. In the minute I've been talking to you, companies like yours made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes with Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. Less stress, less time, more results. When you need the right person to cut through the chaos, this is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs.
I'm Kalia Butler, host of Locked On Women's Basketball, and this is Mazda's Women's Basketball Snapshot, celebrating the work no highlight reel can ever capture. It was a heavyweight showdown between number 3 South Carolina and number 7 LSU, and the Gamecocks rose to the occasion. South Carolina secured a hard-fought 79-72 victory to stay atop the SEC standings, using a balanced offensive attack to outlast the Tigers. Tessa Johnson led the way with 21 points, while Raven Johnson added 19. Medina Okot dominated the paint with a double-double, finishing with 12 points and 17 rebounds, while Joyce Edwards chipped in 10 points to round out the scoring. With the statement win, the Gamecocks now turn their attention to a road matchup at number 23 Alabama on Thursday. These moments are earned off the clock, those long before the lights ever come on. The sweat, the fakes, the doubt, the scrapes, and coming back for more every time. Mazda puts that same drive into every detail. Wins define the moment, putting in the work, that defines you. There's more to a Mazda because there's more to you.
All right, so are there still concerns out there? That's the big question. I would say yes, and the main reason I would say that is because my biggest concern coming to the year has not been answered yet, and that was, if you guys remember, this team with a lot of these players, this coaching staff, they have not experienced SEC play. Obviously, Justin Parker has on the coaching staff, and Ace Reese, Noah Sullivan, those guys have experienced. But overall, a lot of the guys have not experienced SEC baseball, and it's tough, as we're seeing. Oklahoma is a great example. They were a team before the year picked, I think, 14th out of 16 in the league. Well, they dominate Texas Tech, Oklahoma State, and number 10 TCU over the weekend. So you just don't know how good each team is. And that just shows how deep the league is also. I mean, if Oklahoma does end up having the season that was predicted, where they're one of the worst teams in the SEC. I mean, they just dominate 3 good teams, and that's a really good team to be a bad team in your league. You know what I mean? And so that's why my concerns are not answered yet. I still want to see them play in SEC play. Right now, I want to see them build momentum. I want them to get to SEC play with only 1 or 2 losses. That, I think, would be massive. And then once they get there, let's see what happens. All right, well, thanks for tuning in today to Locked On Mississippi State. Tomorrow on the 30-minute show, the longer show, we're going to have a lot of stuff to talk about. We'll have more baseball to talk about, some football news to talk about. We have our upset alert. I actually got mine right this past week, so we got that to talk about. Make sure you subscribe and follow Locked On Mississippi State so you get all the latest episodes. Remember, we're on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and Facebook. If you never miss an episode, the Everyday Club is built for you. Get Locked On Mississippi State ad-free, plus members-only Discord access and more. Head to the custom link. It's in the show notes, so check that out. For those of you on video, we send you to the first ever 24/7 National Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel. On audio, make sure you make your second listen Locked On College Basketball. For Locked On Mississippi State, I'm Jaron. Until next time, Hail State.